Hello, fellow humans. So I have a message, but I don't think it's particularly channeled. This is more like a lesson slash story time. I don't know. Rock with me because they're supposed to be like little Easter eggs for individual people throughout this to get the hints. Like I'm going to be speaking freely, like off the dome, just saying when I need to, but there's going to be like certain phrases or words or whatever I use that are meant to be like, holy shit, to let you know that this is for you. So it is a collective message, but it's me just ranting. Enjoy that. So, shadow work, heavy to light. So, I'm going to start with my experiences as the new moon that just dropped 2 days ago, which usually works 3 days before and 3 days afterwards. Uh, it seems like it's been percolating for a while. So it was at the fourth degree, which is a Cancer degree. That's the mother, that's the home, that's the emotional foundation, that is the beginning of the matriarchal line in your bloodline. So your mother, her mother, and her mother before hers is what was triggered, the healing that was done. So just a little backstory, because we're getting into mom and dad and parental wounds in this, just so you know. Uh, my relationship with my mama was not the best. So for starters, and I believe that every relationship builds off of where it was started, right? My mother actually purposefully got pregnant with me when she was in her last year of high school because she did not want to live with her mother anymore. So she got pregnant. I don't know if it was her first boyfriend. I don't know. My mom's been sort of a lover girl for most of her life. But she ended up having me. And then she didn't so much want the relationship anymore. So my parents got divorced by the time I was two. Uh, After that, it really felt like on both ends, because my dad immediately moved forward to get married because he liked the idea of marriage and family. He went ahead with that plan. Like he erased my mama like an etch a sketch and just put in another woman, right? But my mom, it was like she was left kind of with the remnants of the child that was like a love child from a relationship where the love wasn't there anymore, or she just wasn't in that space. So I was just like a tag along. After that, 4 years later, she had my sister. 4 years later, she had my brother. Her feelings about being a mother did not get better during that time. If anything, we were really good for a face card, or I call us trophy children. Even when I was little, I didn't know what that was. But like she loved doing our hair. Our hair was always like really like ridiculously long. And my sister has hair like mine, but she's like, I'm gonna say she looks Ethiopian. And there she did. So it was just always like, oh, look at the little weird exotic kids, right? But it didn't translate at home. She wanted to be out. She wanted to be dating. My mother wanted to be a singer. She wanted to be an entertainer and a performer. And so my whole life, I watched two things: a woman constantly chasing after men, and a woman who did not want to be home with her children because she felt like her career, her dream was out there in the world and we were holding her back from it. So around 18, that's when I got into well, 17 is when I got my first relationship. But 18 is when I like went from that lack of a bond from my mother and my father to getting into a relationship where I was entirely too bonded, to the point where she was just like, okay, so I don't know what happened during your childhood, but this is like, she can't look at herself as the reason why anything is an issue. She's just looking at it like how it turned out. Like, I can't believe you got stuck in this relationship, but we have made strides and strides in our progress. So she called me last weekend to have a meeting with her for her will with my sister, right? Before my sister got there, her and I had some time to talk. So she starts off, and I'm very much in the space of observation. That's where I've been lately, right? Let people reveal themselves through speaking. Make sure I'm listening more than I am talking until it is my time to talk, because I'm a yapping dog. So she's talking about my sister and her relationship. My sister is a lesbian, right? My mother is now, after all of that, after all of my childhood, extremely religious. Now, it started when I was younger, but it was kind of abusive. Like when I would be sad or I'd have a problem or I talked to her about my depression, she wouldn't want to hear about it. So she would turn up her gospel music as loud as she could so she didn't have to hear what I had to say anymore. That was her way of dismissing me. So that really messed me up a lot religiously. So seeing her now at this age with like cereal boxes, like Ezekiel 4:7 as the cereal and her Christ calendars and all this stuff she does, it's like, okay, people can change. People change how they're meant to. Her battle, her story has nothing to do with mine. So she is still living in this energy of Christian dogma. I got that. That's her personality. I accept her as she is now. But she's talking about my sister's relationship. And she was like, I keep praying to God about her relationship. I just feel like the person she's with is not a good match for her. I really want her to have a baby and have the opportunity to do this. And I stopped her. And I said, Mom, you just said to me that you have been praying to God about what you want for her life. Did you ask if God possibly wanted that for her life? Did you say, God, give my child what I feel like she deserves or what you feel like she deserves for her happiness? And she changed the subject, right? So she switched it to my job, guys. So y'all know I've been talking about the fact that I wanted to wean myself off the cards just because I think the true oracle, like that bomb ass oracle, like the ones that were in all the films we were younger, like Eve's Bayou, the auntie on there, that's like my goal. The oracle on the matrix, like I just want to be able to do this because I stepped into your energy and I feel confident enough that I've been doing this enough that I just trust what's coming through me. The trust is the barrier right now. The cards were my crutch and I'm getting a little bit better, but either way, she brought it up. She was like, you are so talented. I feel like you can go further than what you've been doing now. I feel like your relationship with God is so close that you can hear him directly and you don't need the things that you've been using. So I paused for a second because my first feeling was to get offended because I know she was only saying this because she feels some type of way about me and these cards and with the religious stuff, right? So I took a breath and I was like, when most people have a skill that they want to optimize, they are able to go to school and get some sort of certification that says they can do that. And that is what makes them qualified in the eyes of the world. And this is exactly what I said to her. I said, I have a skill. Well, there is no necessarily a program or anything I can go through, although I do have a certificate in spiritual counseling. I did take courses for that and I did some for hypnotism. To say that I am necessarily good at this. When I say something out my mouth, it could be like whatever, right? I could just be making shit up. But when I say something out my mouth and then I show y'all the cards afterwards, you can see exactly what I was saying in there. There's something to ground what I'm saying into reality. And I told her, I don't think I need the cards in the future, but I feel wonderful about the charts. I can read the stars. That's fine. So I'm not offended by what you're saying because I do believe I am going in that direction. And she was like, well, not even the charts. I don't feel like you need all of that at all. And I was like, I do believe in order to expand my brand where I want to, maybe there's a way that I can do coaching where I can do what I'm doing, but nobody has to know how I'm doing what I'm doing, or how I get my answers or anything, just because there's so much around that would stop anybody from benefiting from this gift that is God given. Like literally, this is God streaming. Like I say stuff all the time. Somebody be like, you know what, and this has happened the more and the more I've been forced out of the house lately, just having conversations with people like I am being used as a conduit to use my heart energy for other people. But when I say this to her, like, I want to keep my charts. I love that I can read the stars. She's like, but God's going to know it's the stars. And I said, Mom. That's when I was like, I felt that we was about to get in there. I said, Mom, God don't care about them cards. You are now putting your stuff on me, right? So she changed the subject. She's not going to deal with that. She doesn't like when we fight. It, like when I was younger, it used to be violent. And it wasn't me being violent. It's just I've always been this intelligent and this mouthy. So when I was younger and I would say something that made her think or something that made her feel bad about being a parent, like, hey, how did you get new clothes and we don't have anything? Then I get like popped, I get beat, I get slapped, whatever the case may be. That stopped at 16 because my mom's like 5'10", 5'11". At 16, I finally reached 6'1". So the last time she tried to roll up on me, she just looked me in my eyes because I stood up and she was like, and slowly backed away. So I haven't had to have that issue. But there are still small fights and things that come up. Your healing can't be found or discovered in expecting other people to change. It's in the acceptance of who they are at the space they are and you not stooping down to that level so that you can still see. If God is giving you a bird's eye view because you have an open heart and clear vision, what would it benefit you to suddenly close your heart and then stoop down to their level? Because I could have went back and forth in the Benihana with her, you know what I mean, about something that was petty. God is the God of completion and things will always come full circle. So when you don't fight a battle, God is fighting it for you. When you don't say something, you don't cut somebody out and you're like, oh, I should have said A, B, C, and D. No, baby, you kept your peace so God can fight your battle. Y'all, my sister arrived. We had a great meal. And my sister is the one who ended up taking me back home afterwards, right? As soon as we got in the car and started driving, keep in mind, my sister had no knowledge of the conversation we had had about her and her wife and my mom stuff, right? She looked at me and she said, Isha, I'm finally happy. I haven't been happy my whole life. My sister used to be alcoholic from the time she was 13. And she's about to be, if I'm 40, she's about to be 34, 35, something like that, till at least 33. She drank like heavy her whole life. To hear her say she was happy and she had been sober for a year was the best news ever. So in my mind, I was like, wow, look at that. Somebody can be over there praying against your blessing because they have not weaved through the discernment they need in their heart based upon their pain, upon their religion, upon their beliefs. That's why I will constantly tell you guys, nobody knows exactly what is right for you but you. Even when somebody is giving you advice, that should be something that you already heard from God directly or heard in your head or saw a sign somewhere that somebody says to you. There should be nothing that just comes out like, you should do A, B, C, and D, and it wasn't even on your mind. Baby, that's not in resonance. That's somebody projecting their ideas or thoughts on you. Sometimes those projections, those things that are for somebody else's path could take you off your path. My sister could be somewhere straight with 2 kids and a husband and hating her life because she listened to my mom and her telling her going that she was going to hell. My sister still to this day says, I know I'm going to hell, but I can't help that I'm gay. And I cannot wait till the next time I see her because I got the instructions to just wait when it's a moment as me and her so I can have a word and let her hear the word to let her know, baby, you were never going to hell for being gay, for being in love. You are doing exactly what you need to be doing and where you're being moved in this life. Guys, after this mother wound thing came up, like all sorts of clarity I got, I guess, about my femininity, about who I am as a person started coming up. Sometimes there are scabs that we have that we don't want to pick at, we don't want to dig into because they hurt, right? But there's something festering under that. Once you dig up that scab and you let it air out, it starts to heal. And sometimes the scar is barely even visible as opposed to the big scab that you had on there that everybody can see and actually, ooh, where hurt you, right? When you're healed and it's recovered, like I have, I can't even see it no more. That's crazy. Once upon a time, I had tried to take myself out, right? And I was unsuccessful, but I ended up getting like a mark on here like a week later because I put my hand in the oven and I burnt this place too, like the exact same place. You can't even see that scar on me at all. If that isn't the biggest message, you can't even see that I tried to remove myself from this earth on my wrist. And it's definitely something that has been worked on. Like the first time I ever wanted to kill myself, I was 11. Like thinking about an 11-year-old going to their father, like, I don't want to live anymore because I didn't know exactly what the feeling was. It's crazy. God can pull you out of anything and any scar can be healed. Speaking of, before I close, because that's the main theme of this new moon was planting new seeds or giving you new energy in your maternal, your feminine, your bloodline energy, anything that needed to come up. So I had a dream last night, y'all, and I have dreams all the time. But this time, I've been talking to y'all about this guy that's been popping up in my dreams. His mom has only ever popped up in my dream once. And that one time, she was sort of angry. Like she wanted to know who I was. What was this magic I was doing? And she always has a guardian with her. And I think it's a passed on family member, her dad, her dad's dad or something. But she always has a slightly bigger guy with her. And he's not in his angel form. He's in his human form. Like maybe the only way that she will recognize him is if he still looks like the human that he was, but he like guides her around when she wants to do stuff. When she came to me this time, and the only reason I know is this guy's mom is because he's famous and he like takes his mom everywhere, like he loves her. This time she had like a bob though, like, or it was like bob length. I don't know what she looks like now because I haven't been like looking at any of the stuff. I've been like out of his energy and all that. Like if he comes towards me, I will see the signs because it's not going to be in my algorithm because I'm not looking it up. His mom coming into my dream was a big one, and I was really confused about where she was, why she was there, because the last one she was really like loud and boisterous. And in between, I had been watching a show called like Mama's Boy, and I kept coming across Monster-in-Law, just stuff about mother-in-laws that were a problem in relationship and stuff. And I was like, I cancel that, whatever. But when she came to me in the dream this time, it's like she looked around my house. She wanted to know what type of person I was, but it was no malice. It was like trying to gain an understanding. And she came to me after she walked around my house in the dream, right? And she was like, I don't remember what the first part of it was, but it was very calm. And then she just says, I just want you to know I'll always be his girl. Like I always want to be his favorite girl. And I just said to her, like, you're his mother. You should always be like his number one girl. That should not change. After watching that Mama's Boy show, and I thought I was going to be triggered about all these moms that were just like in their son's relationship, blah, 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 blah. That's what the show was trying to convey. Even the Monster-in-Law movie, right? But what I saw from this point bird's eye view, because an open heart, a healed heart, or even being in the energy of forgiveness and wanting to understand, not just based upon your ego, but like, God, let me help me understand or see this person as you see them. It gives you so much more energy to work with. In this case, on that show, what I saw was a bunch of women that had been hurt in other relationships, and they poured all their energy in this life into building the man that they did not get, into building the perfect version of their man. And I thought about my wonderful son. He is great. He is literally the greatest guy I know. Like, that's who I created. One day I know I contributed an amazing man to this world. All the mothers on this show wanted was to still be included in their life as if they had not been like just a breeder, a creator. Like, I know you're going to go ahead and have your family, but I still want to be a part of that. And so all my feelings watching the show changed. Like, if I had that issue with the mother-in-law, come hang out with us. Guys, I have literally paid for my mother-in-law to go on, the one I had in this last relationship, to go on vacation with me. Like, I would take her out to dinner on my own. Sometimes I did not leave the relationship I was in because I loved his mother, and his mother would be like, please don't go, don't break up with this, right? Like, because sometimes you don't want to break up with somebody's family. But that mother wound that I had in me was still triggering some stuff outside. The mother wound, the religious wound, all that stuff. Whatever you have in here that is still a scar will be reflected back to you from somebody else in order for you to heal. Now I got some dad stuff coming up. And if I ever meet that guy, I'm gonna ask him, like, dude, you seem like you got rather like sexy when you were drunk, but as your consciousness has been coming to me in dreams, it really looks like you start acting like your daddy when you drunk. And that's a whole issue. Like, you got a whole backstory of toxic masculine energy and stories that were put into the back of your mind while your mother was molding you and creating you into a wonderful gentleman. So you have like two personalities clashing because of this going on. And I was only able to understand that because I sat down with my father's inner child. When I asked my dad in the 3D, like, hey, what was your childhood like? He does not remember anything before 10 because he was raised with his mother, who was a teen mom, and she partied a lot. And then after that, he was raised by his grandmother, who was a nun from 11 and up. So technically, his whole life, he had been emasculated by women. That helped me finally understand why he picked my mother and then the woman that ended up being my stepmother. That gave me some peace. I thought it had something to do with me, but clearly that's my daddy's issues. We are healing each other's wounds through the reflections, guys. As uncomfortable as they are, every person is showing you a different spot in you, whether it needs to be healed or there needs to be a light shined on it so that you can embrace it and say, oh crap, I didn't even realize that was a part of me. Imagine if you were somebody who was meant to be an artist, but you never had anybody who supported you when you were younger. If you come across somebody else who was an artist, guess what's going to happen? They're going to say, yo, you're pretty dope. And then if you hang out with that person, you're going to start to build a part of yourself that you didn't even know was there. That would not happen if you kept yourself from connecting with other people based upon past pains. So everything is full circle, guys. God is always going to come around. Everything will come to an area of completion. That's how you'll know it's God. The same way as I used that example in the beginning with my mama, and the way that my sister was like, I'm happy, there will be something to let you know. I didn't fight this battle because I was looking at it from where God had me seated on my throne, but God fought my battle and I can see it coming to fruition. So even the things that you don't fully see now or are in the fog, trust that is being worked out. There are signs every day, every day. Your part is connected to other people's parts. Don't think that your one dot is not important because you are actually holding a string. If you don't understand this concept, check out the movie Crash or any movie where there are multiple cast members in their own storylines that you don't even understand are connected until the end. That's what's happening here. Even based upon these charts, y'all, we are only 6 degrees of separation from each other. It doesn't matter if that person is on a TV screen, movie screen, in front of the world somewhere, or in a basement, right? If your charts are lined up in a certain way, when these transits come through with their magnetic power, the same way that the moon moves the tides and the water in us, these transits are going to move you where you need to be. The stars that I be reading that people don't think is the good thing for me to do, they are God's stars. They are God's system. It is a blessing. The same as anybody who is able to prophesy, who can read their Bible, who can speak tongues. It is my gift, and I will not be ashamed of that and the way that I use it to clarify and feel strong in that. So every test comes with a reward, and sometimes those rewards are internal. Don't avoid your shadow work, guys. So hope this was helpful. Have a good day.